Hey guys, welcome back to What the Fat. Today's micro podcast, we're going to dive into some of the things I've experienced over the last couple weeks. As you guys might have known, I've been traveling. I was just in the Dominican Republic, just got back from Mexico City. And it's been an incredible experience. You learn a lot. I met some incredible friends, mentors, colleagues all along the journey. And I want to talk about some of the main things I've taken away from those moments and some of the things I've learned just traveling in the last 2 weeks and what that's meant for me. Because I think it'll resonate with some people, and I think it'll resonate with how powerful and how important this movement is, and why it's funny that a lot of people call it a fad, but how I'm seeing an explosion of interest in a variety of different individuals and a variety of different languages. And so I got asked to go out and speak in the Dominican Republic at a small keto event, and it was really amazing, honestly, to be able to connect, to be able to see this beautiful island and how a conversation around the type and quality of food that we eat is making an impact in so many people. And it really resonated with me when I heard a lot of the doctors, some of the other thought leaders that were speaking. And one of the frustrating pieces for me was I don't know Spanish. All right? So they're giving all this information. There was a doctor who was talking all about cholesterol and all of the amazing research he's doing in cholesterol, and I didn't understand it. And I just realized it put me in a different perspective, because how many times, how many doctors, how many thought leaders are giving talks in English, but there's so many other languages, and how that could be a barrier for some people to relay knowledge. And I was sad for a little bit. I was like if I put myself in someone else's shoes, of someone who only speaks Spanish, or someone who only speaks Chinese, or someone who only speaks German or Italian or French, whatever you want to call it, the lack of information that we see so prevalent here in the US, because we have so many incredible thought leaders and doctors and individuals who are talking about this conversation, but maybe where it might be lacking in some of these other languages. And so I was it really reinvigorated and inspired me. I want to learn Spanish. I don't think I'll ever be able to give a full presentation in Spanish, but I want to be fully immersed in it so I can understand and be able to relate, because you realize how many other things you have to rely on when you can't speak the same language as someone, like body language. You guys have heard me talk a lot about body language in the past, but you have to be able to pick up someone's body language to understand, are they mad? Are they happy? Are they excited? What's going on? What are they thinking? Even when they're talking to you, but when they're talking to someone else, it's interesting to pick up on how body language becomes so important when you really can't understand or translate words. And so that was interesting to watch, but also just feeling disconnected. And I felt bad. And I was like, you know what? It shows how important this conversation is, but it also showed me and kind of ignited this fire in me of how much further we have to go, right? A lot of people think, oh, keto's at its peak, right? You're going to start to see it come down. I really don't think that's true. I think keto's going to continue growing. I think we're going to see more and more companies, more and more people try and understand not only the fat loss or body composition benefits of keto, but the therapeutic benefits. And I think we're really on the precipice of this taking off even further. You know what I mean? And that kind of reinstilled that into me of when I was in the Dominican Republic, when I was in Mexico City. There was a Charge Proof event in Mexico City. They invited me out to come speak, and it was amazing, right? These people are on fire. And it was amazing. I asked the audience, and I was talking about the ketogenic diet, exogenous ketones, all of the work that we're doing with the brain benefits. And I asked the audience, and about 70% of them said they were on a ketogenic diet. And this is in Mexico City, where literally there wasn't much education, or weren't many thought leaders who are out here. Like in the US, you have so many people on Instagram, Facebook, who are putting out a ton of information, and they said they don't get a lot of that in Mexico City, yet 70% were on a ketogenic diet because they're listening to the messages, everything that we're putting out over here, and that inspired me, right? It was heartwarming to see all these people, now that we're in that room, several hundred individuals who are now going to go out and tell this conversation and share this conversation with 10, 20, 30 people themselves, And that's just going to create this entire chain throughout all of Mexico, throughout all of Latin America, throughout the islands, right? Think of how much further this conversation has to grow. And I like kind of reiterated this to my team today because I came back fired up. It's been brutal. Traveling has been crazy. I had 14-hour worth of travel flying back from Mexico City with layovers and delays and everything. But you know what? It all makes it worth it when you see that one person who comes up to you, and even though they might not speak the same language, you know, because you can see it in their eyes, like how much their life has changed, how impactful this lifestyle has been for them, and literally has transformed their life. To me, that's worth 14 hours wherever on a flight to see if I can help transform one individual, and then that can create this butterfly effect, really where it helps them carry on, not only them, their family, their friends. And so I wanted to do this because I wanted to jump on first to talk about that experience because I think it was incredible, but truly to help foster and discuss how I think this conversation is going to continue to grow. I really don't think we're at the peak. And I think as long as we, as this group that's listening to What the Fat, the group surrounding ketogenic.com, everything we're doing there, the entire ketogenic community, I think as long as we foster and protect this conversation and deliver the information the right way, this thing will continue to grow for years and years to come. I don't think in my lifetime I ever want to see this go, because you look at its ability to help people literally through a nutritional standpoint and the fuel source that we're putting inside of our body, that can live on forever. I want my kids, my great-great-great-grandchildren to understand the benefits of ketosis and understand how by that time, hopefully, food is shifted. And I hope by that time they're looking back laughing and in shock and awe at some of the foods we were eating today, chips and fries and all this stuff, because things have transformed so drastically to their generation and what they're going to be eating. And I hope that's the case. I really do. And I think it's up to us to help make that happen, right? Because this isn't just a weight loss story. And it was amazing, like I said, when I was in the Dominican Republic or Mexico City, how little people were talking about weight loss. And like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, you hear in the U.S., a lot of times people are like, oh, I do keto for weight loss. And I always tell people, you're not doing keto for weight loss, you're doing it for fat loss, number one. You really want to lose fat. No one wants to lose lean body mass or muscle mass. But two, it was more the therapeutic benefits that they were getting. I feel better. I'm not as tired. I have more energy. What's that worth to someone, right? Fat loss, body weight, that can come and go. What about feeling better? What about being a better mother? What about being a better father? And it's amazing to watch those results carry across a point where language doesn't matter, right? Language isn't a barrier to your results of your nutrition. And you look at people who are in Mexico, you look at people who are in the Dominican Republic, you look at people who are in the U.S., it doesn't matter if you can't communicate and understand each other's words. The results that they're getting are almost identical. They're feeling better. They're less hungry all the time. Food doesn't control them anymore. They're seeing results in their parents or their grandparents who are having neurological issues literally by altering the fuel source that they're putting in their body. And so I was more inspired than ever, and it's the reason why I wanted to jump on this micro podcast and talk to you guys about it, because I came back more fired up than ever. And I was telling my team, like, I got to learn Spanish because I got asked to go speak in Puerto Rico. I want to do something in Spain with one of my good friends who's out there, in Europe where there's a big Spanish-speaking community. I came back and I was like, how do we take the content? How do we take the information we're doing and get it out to more people, right? Like, someone was asking about the Ketogenic Bible, and right now the only other language, believe it or not, that it's in is Chinese. It's crazy, but like there's a huge market that's buying this up in China to really get this information, and I wish it was up to me. Like, that's a whole nother animal, but like, I would love to get this translated into Spanish, but I think there's other things that we could do a lot faster, because unfortunately we don't control how, if, when those things get translated into different languages. But I just want to go out on the full frontal and put out a ton of content that can transform and can translate into multiple different languages to effectively help people, right? There's so many people that listen to this podcast. I literally I don't even know how many countries. There's like over 25 different countries that, and I'll get an exact breakdown and tell you guys next time. But I love seeing when our team's like, hey, look at all these people who listened to the podcast last week. And it's all these different countries, and I'm super grateful for it because it means we're impacting everyone on a global level, and it pushes me and it pushes our team to work harder to make sure that, like, yes, I want to make sure I get this information out in English, but how do I help I can't help someone until I meet them where they're at. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be better off training and working with and teaching people in Mexico for them to go out and help other people in Mexico than me trying to go all throughout Mexico, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to resonate and translate better with someone who is on the ground floor, who understands their culture, who understands, oh, they don't have a keto bar at their disposal, or, oh, they don't have this salt, or they don't have this fast food option. Like, there's a lot of things that we don't know of in these other countries. And so I want to go out and provide more resources. It's one of the reasons why we're gearing up. And one of my first initiatives with something that we're going to be launching next month, you guys will hear, and I promise you guys will be the first ones to hear it. It's going to be an intense curriculum. It's going to be something that I think anyone and everyone who goes through this will come out. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner. It doesn't matter if you're extremely advanced. You're going to come out knowing all of the science, all of the foundation for how do I literally implement or answer any questions I get surrounding a ketogenic lifestyle, whether that be about cholesterol, whether that be about my goal is fat loss, exogenous ketones, therapeutic, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, whatever it may be, cancer, all the way to how do I practically work with other individuals and translate this information. It's a project we've been working on for months and months and months. And the reason I'm telling you that is because the goal is to eventually get that translated into multiple different languages. And I want to get it translated into Spanish because I think there's an enormous potential to help people. And if at the end of the day, education and knowledge is the barrier from preventing people from really transforming their lives versus just staying their status quo. And so I hope that inspires you guys too. And I hope you guys join me on this journey. If you want to learn a new language, do it, right? It stimulates you, stimulates the brain, but like, I want to be able to effectively communicate with people. And I think language is one of the most beautiful things in the world because it allows people to literally communicate at a different level, but it also prevents certain interactions from happening, right? If you can't speak the same language, how am I ever going to get across to you in the same manner that I could if I didn't speak that same language, right? So I think language is beautiful. I think countries, different cultures are absolutely beautiful. And I'm just excited to help share this conversation throughout as many as I possibly can in my lifetime. So I appreciate you guys. We have some incredible guests lined up over the next couple of weeks. Literally going to be cranking on this podcast at a whole nother level. Let us know. Shoot me a DM. Leave us a review. If you haven't yet, please leave a review. Let us know everything else that you want to hear and what you thought of What the Fat thus far. But we have a ton in store for you guys. I cannot wait to share it with you guys. And again, we're completely open ideas. I have a million things on the board that I want to shoot as far as micro podcast content. But honestly, you guys help drive it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Love you guys. As always, make positivity louder. I'll talk to you soon.